So, my fucking editing software decided to stop working. I tried to reboot it, still decided not to stop working. Got so fucking angry. Can't show you how I did it, so I'm just leave out with a flight clip. Spoiler warning for both Royal Olympus and Ava's Demon. If you don't care, then you can continue watching. But if you do, you can stop. So my reasoning for doing this video is mostly because Ava's Demon, it kind of feel like it's on a hiatus, but I'm not sure. Its upload schedule is weird. And Royal Olympus is gonna come back August 2nd for its next season. So I wanted to talk about the characters and the plot and compare what I do and don't like from either one of them. So yeah, let's talk about it. Ava's Demon is a webcomic made by Michelle. I'm not even going to try and pronounce her last name. In 2012, and it's been going on for around 8 years. And it has its own website if you're interested in reading it. Lord Olympus is a series made on the Webtoon app by Rachel Smithy, and has been going on since 2018. And as I said in the beginning, it's starting its second season soon. So yeah, I'd say this is around the best time to get into the series. Lord Olympus takes place in a modernized version of ancient Greece. Though Olympus is the only place that is modernized. The normal ancient Greece is old. And it gives characters jobs and other things, and kind of fucking sad at sometimes. This part's gonna be a little bit long, so I'm gonna just kind of talk fast on this. So, long ago the universe was born, as it should be. Then, a bunch of aliens, colonized it. We have a bunch of races, but we only really want to focus on 3 of them: the humans, the Vengus, and Titan. The Vengus ruled over an intergalactic empire that spanned the whole reach of the universe. They had a queen named Wraitha Bellarama and their king, Paderi Nezagami. Right. Then, Titan, this big fucking behemoth, came through and started conquering all of their empires. So, Wraitha and Paderi wanted to go to war, but Paderi came up with a counter plan, saying we'll just be reborn into the next life. A bunch of other shit. Fucking millennia later, Ava Iyer is born. And Wraitha gets incarnated into this body. 15 years go by, and Wraitha is continuing to try and make Ava make a pact, pretty much making their souls bond. And Ava denies. Ava dies, and then they make that pact. And then we start off with the real stuff for Ava's Demon. And the whole goal is to go around the universe, recruit some of her strongest warriors, and then kick Titan's ass. Boom. Well, that's both of their plots explained really, really short. There's a lot more to Ava's Demon. Not that much to Lord Olympus is pretty basic. But how do both Ava Iyer and Core Persephone compare to one another? Well, let's start with Ava Iyer since I finished on Ava's Demon. Okay. Ava Iyer is a 15-year-old anxiety and social outcast of a female. And it doesn't help when you have a demon, or at least a fucking alien, pestering you to either make a pact or go kill yourself. And that doesn't help when that planet gets destroyed. Yes, when a planet gets destroyed and a ship crash lands and she dies. Then she makes a pact with Wraitha. But that's a lot more into the overall plot instead of the character. But the character of Ava Iyer, I feel, is more relatable than Core Persephone, and I'll explain why in the Persephone segment. But with Ava, she's kind of stuck with three other characters, being Gil, Levy, and Odin, all being different hosts for Wraitha's army, right? So Persephone and Ava, they both get into these situations where they lose control, and I'll go into that, and I'll go into more detail of that later on. But as like characters on relatability, I personally feel like Ava Eye is the more relatable protagonist than core Persephone. Uh, I'm gonna be a little bit angry during this part, so if I start to just fucking rant or anything like that, just know it's not the character's fault, it's the fucking software's fault. So, Core Persephone is a 19-year-old, um, overachieving student who who's graduated and going to college now. And if you're fucking reading Lore Olympus, you're not a fucking overachieving person. You're somebody who got no time on that, who got no fucking hobbies and no time on their hands, and you're just trying to fill out some fucking space. So that's one point why I'd say she isn't relatable. Because let's be honest. Fuck! So, after me calming down for a bit, I can properly talk about Core Persephone. So she's a 19-year-old flower nymph, and she was raised in the mortal realm because because the mater, her mother, saw how fucked up Zeus was as a person. I mean, like it's Zeus, of course. So she decided, to raise her away from Olympus, and where Persephone most likely would have been, where worse would have happened to her than what actually happened to her in the story. Right. She meets Hades at a party, and so far and so forth. She gets a job for him. A bunch of other stuff happens in between then and there. One important thing that I do want to talk about is that I'm not holding this against the character of Persephone. I get this was a tough thing, but I feel like this could have been handled differently, or at least the way how it was originally handled was better than the way that Rachel kind of prolonged it, right? So Apollo, Hermes, and Artemis and Persephone. Artemis and Persephone live with each other. So Artemis invited Apollo and Hermes to her house, and they all was chilling for real. Everybody went to sleep. Apollo snuck into Persephone's room, and he did the thing with her forcefully. And I feel like that's a great way how to humanize, like to build up and kind of antagonist, not humanize. That was mess up on my part, but kind of like build up an antagonist that was good. I respect. I kind of not respect. I kind of understand what she was going for, but then chapter 50 happened, and chapter 50 was great because she finally, after all this time, opened up to somebody about what happened that day, and she kind of recovers from it. And she slowly starts to recover from it. And for me, if it would have ended at chapter 50, that would have been fine. I feel like that would have been a great closing segment, right? But around like chapter 106, Rachel brings it up again, which I kind of felt like that was just pandering to the audience. But I was thinking, okay, so she's finally going to confront Apollo and tell more people about this and actually expose him for the fucked up person that he is. But no, she decided to change it into the bringer of death, her berserker moment part of the story, which I felt like that would have been a great opener for season 2, not revealing like Persephone why she did it or anything like that, not even revealing Persephone did it, because we have this kind of like golden image of her. But for her to end it on that, it felt forced, and it felt kind of it didn't flow right with the story. Like, it just, for me at least, when I was 100% pissed off at it, because when you hype up something, you at least expect it to have a somewhat satisfying payoff. in the making of this video, I reread that chapter and I reread the build up to it, like the last few chapters before the season's gonna start. And I'm less mad at it, and I'm more just upset. And I can remember what made me angry at it, but that's for a different segment. I know that was a long rant and a tangent, but I wanted to get that off my chest because it's important to Persephone's character. First, she's this overachieving student, college. She's getting a really good job working in the underworld. Somebody that feels very fictional. That's why Persephone isn't a bad character. She's just not as relatable, or more, you can kind of see where she's coming from as Ava Iyer, right? Also, Persephone, I forgot that this part, but also Persephone, she has this kind of innocent aura around her that makes her such a target for like a bunch of like messed up things. So that's what makes her berserker moment more interesting, in a sense. But since we're talking about the berserker moment, I want to start with Persephone since we just ended on her. For some build up to it. She just got into an argument with her mother about feeling like a kid, and she want to like leave. Of course, anything a normal teenager would do. That's a good part of her character. She does feel more teenage. She does feel like a normal teenager at times, but at other times she just doesn't feel like relatable, like somebody you can connect with to get the situation across. So she goes into the gardens, and the flower nymphs follow her. One of the nymphs starts to fade away, and the other one starts to die too. So Persephone goes outside the garden and see what's happening. She sees some villagers, picking flowers, most likely for like a giant event for their king. So Persephone loses her cool and decides to kill them. And then she starts to kill more and more of them and kill their king and stuff like that. For me, I would say what doesn't make this berserker this berserker moment work is that it appears out of nowhere. The build up for it is minimal. Yes, the build up for Persephone, the bringer of death name was definitely, it was okay. It wasn't well done. It wasn't like anything to where you should appreciate it like that. But it's definitely one of those, okay, this is fine. But as I kind of stated, it felt like something that could have opened up for season 2. It would have been the greatest opening for season 2. Kind of let it be more like a mystery instead of just going to Helios, who sees everything, and well, you probably don't know, but I'm just saying this to like help my brain. See everything and then explain it to Zeus and then lead up for that. I would say that's what made Persephone's berserker moment to me feel worse than what Ava's does. Now, on the other coin, we have Ava's demon, which its whole build up to Ava losing her shit and transforming into something worse is well done. It's well done and well paced, I would say. Because Ava is put into this uncomfortable situation. So, some build up for this scene. They go to this Titan home base, right? This is before Gil deserts. And Maggie's trying to get into Gil's parents because sex is a sin. So, but Odin wants to leave the planet. So Odin and Ava, they both get put into a kind of like homeless shelter, but not a homeless shelter for real. Then they they leave and they debate on what they should do next. They go to an event, or at least they forcefully go to an event so they wouldn't look suspicious. Then Odin gets captured by his 2 sisters and leaves Ava alone. So this guy named Strago 6 takes Ava takes Ava out of the crowd because she didn't look like a normal follower of Titan. He puts her into this machine along with somebody whose name I'll probably put in post editing. And the machine just starts to, it's supposed to like rebuild you into something better in a more image of Titan. This kind of futuristic appeal. And it just, the imagery on it the imagery of like what actually happens is so beautiful. It's beautiful, yet it's gory. It's like it's like beauty and destruction, like fire for some reason. And then she kind of loses it. Breitha gives her a potion to drink, and then she just starts going on a fucking rampage. Strago 6 tries to stop her, but she just annihilates Strago 6. And at the end of it, a bunch of people are murdered. Like, people are trying to reach out and get other help and get like soldiers to help them stop Ava on her rampage. Maggie knows what's going on, so she puts a shield up around Gil, and then at the end, we just get left into this like ashen waste field, like this ashen field. It just looks so good. Like, overall, it's well done. And I would say why the Ava's Demon one works well is because it's kind of like social anxiety and being left alone took into like kind of a super extreme. For like when say if like you're at a party and you only with your friend and your friend knows somebody else and they like go off and they leave you alone, you would feel into like this awkward position. We're just gonna say you have social anxiety. You would feel into like this very awkward position to where you don't want to be there, right? And then, that's taken to its logical extreme. But I just find the scene so good because it's built up. It's built up in 2 chapters, and keep in mind these chapters are released they're fully released by like the end of the month for real. So it's like 2 months worth of build up instead of like a whole week, like a whole 3 weeks full of build up. So it's way more well paced and way more believable, or at least it has way more time to like be properly thought out. Also, if you actually want to see how this if you actually want to see how it actually went down, I'll link the Ava's Demon video in the description so you can actually like see what really went down. And I don't like it when comics are animated, but it just looked pretty. Now, I know what some of y'all are gonna say. Why are you critiquing this? Sorry for the repeat. Why are you critiquing one series while you're praising the other? Just because I'm praising one doesn't mean I don't like Lore Olympus. I like Lore Olympus. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't have fucking followed it to the end of its season and then critique it. You critique something either if it's so bad, if you like it and you can see potential in it, or just money. But since it's not money, since I'm not getting paid for this shit, it's more or less I see potential in it and what it can be. I'm praising Ava's Demon because it feels well paced and it's an important event. It's an important event instead of it feeling like a last minute edit. Kind of like if you look back at that intro, the last 3 panels, the last 3 like clips I used was way more like I had to put those in there to kind of like fill it out instead of it like being way more thought out. So it looks better. Just like anything, if you actually plan it out and like really take your time with it, it actually looks better overall planned out instead of it just being rushed out. One of the biggest things, also, this is like one of my bigger reasons why I did this. One of my biggest fucking hatreds that Rachel does is that she puts hiatuses into chapters and like she releases them like alongside how she would release her chapters on Saturdays. So when say if like an arc is going really good, like for example, Hera confronts Zeus about how fucked up their marriage is, right? Then you get put into the middle of like hiatus, XYZ. It's not bad that you take a break, but it's better if you like announce it on a different platform. I understand that's like your main platform and where you're known, but it just kind of fucks up the flow and the pacing of the story. I'm not blaming her for a hiatus. So for a recap, I do like both of these series. I like Ava's Demon more, besides his art style. Its characters actually have somewhat interesting appeals to him. And also Pedri, or Pederi, however the fuck you want to pronounce him. He's definitely my favorite demon. It also introduced some more things I didn't think I would like. Some more fetishes, like Lava Monster. Lava Monster and horns. I don't know. It looks hot for some reason. So that's the end of this video. but I have an announcement. Or at least an explanation for something else I was working on. If you only came for the Ava's Demon and Lord Olympus, you can exit out now. So I was recording this video about me talking about my friends. I didn't overall like the way how it started, like it ended. So I'm gonna just upload like what I made instead of me scrapping the whole video. Cause at least there was some funny moments in the beginning, and then I just kind of fell out of it. So yeah, that will be going up. I'd say like after I finish this. So yeah, if you're reading this, have a wonderful day, and I hope I can see you next time. Bye.